One of the things we haven't done here is, and it's a question I have never asked any of the groups before, and you're all been following, I'm sure, the Toronto election to some degree. One of the candidates there, Rocco Rossi, has proposed that politicians in municipal office should be subject to recall, which would mean that your constituents would be, if they didn't think you were really doing a very good job, they could, by a petitioning process, get you removed from office. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Definitely. Bill?
You know, we have a recall potential every 4 years. I think it's an impossible task. In California, they have this recall, and it's necessary to get a huge number of votes. But in terms of this election, you'd be interested to know that a lawyer 2 or 3 days ago called me the Rob Ford of Oshawa politics, and I like that.
All right.
Okay, cool. Moving on. That's good. Good answer. I agree with these two here because yes, no, I think recall is necessary because.
But then there would have to be very specific guidelines, and there have to be like a code of the conduct that they breached or not done right.
Oh yeah,
there has to be a coupon.
There's one.
There's
one underway. One underway in British Columbia.
One of the
right
issues
now.
that dominates local politics everywhere is development issues. I know that in Pickering, the North Pickering is basically Seton, and there's lands up on the headwaters of the Duffins Creek, I believe, that are the developers are lobbying very heavily to get them developed, and they're going to the Ontario Municipal Board, I gather, even before the application has been made. You know, one of the issues that faces voters is that these things, the developers know their way around the political system, and they know how to get things done. Whereas the voters do not. They find out about things only after they're well underway. So what's the matter with the system, and how would you undertake to go and change it?
One of the problems with the system is it's the developers that fund the elections. And, you know, he who pays the piper calls the tune. We all know that.
No, I'm sorry.
I object with that one.
I don't agree with that one at all.
Not at
Well,
all.
it happens in...
Are you saying you can be bought?
I'm not funded by developers.
I'm not taking any funding from developers.
Okay.
But our mayor is one of the highest recipients of development funds, and he's the chair of the regional development committee.
Wait a minute. I think first of all, developers is not a bad word.
No.
I happen to live in a house that was built by a developer, and you know what? Probably a
We
really
all
good.
do.
Most of us do.
Yeah.
So we've taken this blanket statement, and the developers are these bad people.
Yeah.
I haven't taken any funds, nor do I intend to take any funds from a developer. But if a developer came along and said, "I would like to contribute to your fund," as long as he doesn't think it buys him anything, I don't care. I don't care if it's the lady down the street that thinks she can come and complain about her fence, or a developer. If he expects I'm going to approve something, I'm not going to do it. If you're telling me every dollar that comes from every developer is dirty, I don't buy it. It's a whitewash. It's too simple and too simplistic.
It's
okay, you know,
it's the collective of that money that basically makes it dirty. It's when you get developers funding large numbers of particularly incumbent campaigns.
Yeah. Only incumbent campaigns.
But wait a minute. This is what I understand.
Then
I understand this goes on, okay? And now you can take it for leave it or whatever you like to do.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact it does go on, okay? So there are some that can be bought. I will say that right away. And the funny part of it all is it should be capped somehow, but it can't be. So for instance, if a politician,
obviously it's been capped.
No, wait, that's what I'm trying to drive at.
Yeah.
I'm trying to drive at that point. It is capped at $750. But if I am a developer and I have 50 numbered companies, I could give you 50 donations of $750. And all of a sudden, wow, I think I got you in my pocket.
Yeah.
And that isn't right.
But we both know we're not taking,
No, but I'm saying that it goes on. And I don't want that to happen anymore.
The fallacy of this argument.
I'm not sure it really goes on quite. I'm not sure it really goes on.
It goes on in Pickering.
Well,
I'm not sure it really goes on in campaign. We're talking about brown envelopes here, and frankly, if I knew that was going on, I would disclose it. So. You hear rumors.
I'm disclosing it because I know it goes on.
If the incumbent, if the developers, wait a minute, it goes on. If the developers were simply altruists who wanted to ensure democracy and help all of the campaigns, they would give to everybody. But in fact, they don't. They only give to incumbent politicians because incumbent politicians are the ones that have a 99% chance of getting reelected.
No,
and
no,
so,
no,
so
But
if
hang on, let me actually bring the question back.
Okay,
Let me round it back.
Okay.
The question really maybe we should focus on this part is this, is that that development, for the most part, it seems to be spoken for. And that the public, by the time the sign goes up of notice of rezoning or bylaw change, that is the least that is the least amount that any municipality can do to notify the public of any possible changes. So the thing about it is that there's a feeling out there that the developer has already got the plan, that they already know that they can petition the OMB even before the motion's put forward, and that the public actually believes that all of these deals are fait accompli with a bit of window dressing and optics that they could come and lobby in front of your council and in front of your council to say, we object, and all of the politicians sitting there, we agree with you, but knowing that the deal has already been done in the background. That's really what you're talking about.
If I can just interject.
So what would you do to change that feeling? What would you do to change it?
Okay, it's the processes. I'm right back to the processes. You got these notice signs, you got the public going, it's very minimal, okay? You'd get the word out even more. On the mediums that we were discussing earlier, it could be electronically. And once these processes are out like that, for instance, and before, like there's charrettes that go on for a specific development to go in. Those people that are from the neighborhood, these charrettes have been brought in, the people that are doing that, to agree with it. They're very agreeable to it. So there's a bias in the charrette itself.
So should the developer, in this case, I'm going to throw it as an idea, that if they are going for something, there is a maximum, they have to, sorry, I got to go. Should there be a maximum, should it be legislated or bylawed, a maximum, they have to meet a higher level of engagement, of notification to the public.
Well, definitely,
that's
110%.
Well, you know, a lot of these laws and a lot of these notifications exist.
Right.
They're like speed limits on the road. We've got to get people. I mean, everyone talks about transparency, but they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk.
But what we do about it, because the feeling
have
is
to walk the walk.
There's a feeling that a delegation standing in front of council standing in front of council, arguing about that they don't want to do something because there's a school in the area, or whatever. It's almost a fait accompli that almost all of the politicians and all the deals have already been done.
They've already been done behind closed doors.
There's a feeling out there. It happened to me in
like
Pickering,
that,
and we lobbied for this for a school that we were working at, in Ajax, and it wasn't until we brought in the cameras from Chex TV, and we started to really put the heat on, that some of the politicians actually made the switch and pivoted a bit, and so did the developer. Now, that was with a lot of weight and a lot of pressure. The public needs to know that this could be a little different. How would you make it different?
Okay, so here's my fresh
Give us your ideas.
I have a fresh new idea.
111, go.
Okay, my fresh new idea. Here it is. If this is going on and this is not being done properly behind closed doors and everything, no applications from any developer should be accepted to the city. The city should accept any application without first the public involvement and public notice.
Yeah, but they give a notice, but it's always too late in the process.
No, they've already got it in there.
Yeah, but you've got to change it somehow, because right now it's too little, too late, Johnny. So who else wants to jump in?
I will.
This? Okay, quickly.
I said it before. I think the rules are in there already. I think we're not obeying them. I think that's one. And I think you're saying actually what I want to hear you say, and that is we need fewer politicians in City Hall and some fresh faces. We need some fresh faces who will apply the rules that should be applied and get that notice out there and let the public know that they're being dealt with fairly. They don't feel that way right now.
Bill?
I think governments at all levels, Garth, have to be proactive. And, the provincial government has created a green belt across the north of Toronto and a buffer between communities so they don't merge together. I happen to have a 100-acre farm, and one of that green belt is a managed forest. It's my own park. I like the idea that it's protected into the future.
About 20 seconds.
And so one of my ideas is that we have to preserve also the hamlets in Durham region, and I would be one to have buffer zones around, zone buffer zones around these hamlets to preserve that way of life.
All right, great.
Yeah, it just, one of the things that I think none of you have commented is basically we have to use new technology. I mean, I ran for municipal office way back in, 93.
10 seconds.
And basically, I proposed at that point that we should be using the internet, that every development out there should be on the internet as soon as the municipality knows about it. I mean, this show is part of new technology, et cetera. And yet, some municipalities were doing this in the late 90s. Durham region is still not doing it, and we're now in 2010. Every single development should be on the internet in its entirety at the moment that the town knows about it.
We're going to head off the break, and we're going to thank you, our guests, for being here. We'll see if we have time. I think we may be out. Make sure you get out and vote, and if you don't vote, then you're part of the 70%. You get lots of company. All right, thanks for being a part of the show. Thanks, Dougie.